The xenomorph's life cycle begins with the ovomorph more than just a simple egg. It is a living organism designed for patience and survival, lying dormant for years until a suitable host draws near. There are two main methods of creation. The first is natural egg-laying by a xenomorph queen whose massive ovipositor can produce countless ovomorphs. These queen-born eggs are remarkably stable, using a process that locks their acidic blood into a crystallized salt form, preserving the facehugger inside for centuries without external sustenance. The second method is egg-morphing, a grotesque process where a cocooned living being is slowly transformed cell by cell into an ovomorph, ensuring reproduction even in the absence of a queen. Structurally, the ovomorph has a rudimentary nervous system linked to pressure and heat-sensitive veins, allowing it to detect the presence of nearby organisms without eyes or ears. Once a host approaches, the four-petaled top opens, releasing the lurking facehugger. In some accounts, a strange blue mist surrounds egg chambers, theorized to function like a spider's web. Disturbing it alerts the hive to prey. Although resilient enough to withstand extreme impacts and gravity, the ovomorph has one purpose only: to unleash its parasite. Once the facehugger emerges, the egg dies, its energy completely spent. The facehugger is the second stage of the xenomorph's evolution, and arguably the most horrifying. Resembling a skeletal spider with finger-like digits and a whip-like tail, it exists for one purpose: implantation. When triggered by movement or body heat, it launches with explosive speed, wrapping its digits around the victim's head and locking its tail tightly around the throat. The grip is absolute. Attempting to pull it free usually results in strangulation or exposure to its highly corrosive acidic blood. Once attached, the facehugger renders its host unconscious by injecting a cyanose-based paralytic. It then inserts a long proboscis into the host's throat. This grotesque tube serves two functions simultaneously, providing oxygen directly to the lungs and delivering the embryo. In most versions of alien lore, this embryo is not a fully formed creature, but rather a microscopic mutagenic seed, which rewrites the host's DNA to grow the chestburster inside. In rare cases, such as the royal facehugger, two embryos can be implanted, one developing into a drone, the other into a future queen. The facehugger's biology makes it nearly indestructible. Resistant to heat, pressure, and chemicals, it can survive days without a host. Its only natural death occurs once implantation is complete, at which point it detaches and dies, leaving the host unaware of the nightmare gestating within. After successful implantation, the host becomes an unwitting incubator for the chestburster, the embryonic xenomorph. At first, the process is invisible, as the embryo hijacks the host's biological systems to construct its body from the victim's tissue. This phenomenon, called the DNA reflex, incorporates 10 to 15% of the host's genetic traits into the creature. As a result, the final form can vary widely: humanoid drones from humans, quadrupedal runners from animals like dogs or oxen, and even hybrids with predator-like mandibles when implanted in yautja. Over several hours to days, the parasite develops rapidly until it is ready for its violent escape. The embryo pushes upward, rupturing bone and muscle as it erupts through the ribcage, killing the host instantly. The chestburster emerges as a small, pale, serpent-like creature with needle-sharp teeth, its body slick with blood. At this stage, it is highly vulnerable, lacking armor and size, but it instinctively flees into the shadows to avoid retaliation. In expanded lore, particularly Alien Romulus, the chestburster sometimes enters a chrysalis stage. Like an insect cocoon, this accelerates development and allows it to absorb environmental traits, explaining biomechanical features seen in some xenomorphs. Within hours, the chestburster molts into its next and most recognizable form, the drone. The drone represents the classic adult xenomorph, the form most familiar to audiences and the foundation of the hive. Standing over 7 feet tall with elongated limbs and a segmented tail, the drone is engineered as the hive's hunter and gatherer. Its primary duty is to stalk, capture, and subdue potential hosts, dragging them back to egg chambers for implantation. Unlike the fragile chestburster, the drone is a lethal predator, combining stealth, speed, and raw strength. It moves silently through ventilation shafts, clings to walls like an insect, and ambushes with terrifying precision. Anatomically, drones exhibit some variety. Some bear smooth domed skulls, like the big chap from the original Alien, while others show ridged heads or slimier textures as seen in Alien Romulus. Regardless of design, all share acidic blood pressurized enough to burn through multiple decks of a starship, acting as both a weapon and a deterrent against injury. Variants emerge depending on the host. Runners, for example, inherit quadrupedal speed and agility from animal hosts, sacrificing armor for mobility. Despite their differences, every drone is expendable yet indispensable. the beating heart of the hive's ecosystem. While a single drone can be fought off, their true terror lies in numbers, where stealth and swarm tactics make escape nearly impossible. When a hive requires stronger defense, ordinary drones metamorphose into warriors. These are bulkier, more heavily armored versions of their kin, bred for intimidation and survival in combat. Their exoskeleton thickens, giving them the resilience to withstand heavy gunfire and blunt trauma, while their claws and tails grow sharper and more powerful. Where the drone excels at stealth and host collection, the warrior is a living bulwark, standing between intruders and the hive's inner chambers. Behaviorally, warriors are more aggressive than drones. They are less focused on capturing prey alive and more concerned with annihilating threats outright. This makes them the hive's first line of defense, charging into battle to absorb damage while others circle in for the kill. Expanded lore describes their ability to coordinate ambushes, using roars and physical signals to rally surrounding xenomorphs into unified attacks. There are also specialized equivalents. For example, the runner variant of a warrior called the sentry or centenary combines the blistering speed of animal-born xenomorphs with the armored durability of the warrior caste. These quadrupedal defenders are especially lethal in open terrain, darting ahead to intercept intruders long before they reach the queen's chamber. In any form, the warrior represents the hive's evolution into organized, militarized defense. While the warrior embodies brute force, the worker represents function and survival. Workers are drones that have undergone a different metamorphosis, shrinking in size and losing some of their intimidating sheen. Their black exoskeleton fades to a grayish-white tone, and their elongated jaws extend into a long pink proboscis. This specialized organ secretes a thick resin, the organic substance that constructs the hive's walls, tunnels, and egg chambers. In essence, workers are the architects and maintenance crew of the colony. Though not as dangerous in combat as warriors, workers are indispensable. They expand the hive, repair damage, and create chambers strong enough to cocoon victims for egg-morphing. Their resin can harden into nearly impenetrable structures, binding captives in place and providing a durable habitat that shields the hive from attack. Workers also play a critical role in feeding royal jelly, a nutrient-rich secretion that can trigger the transformation of ordinary xenomorphs into specialized castes like Praetorians. Despite their less combative role, workers are still dangerous if provoked. Their claws and tails remain lethal, and their acidic blood makes them hazardous even in death. Yet their true threat is indirect. By expanding the hive, they ensure the species' growth, giving the xenomorphs a permanent foothold wherever they spread. When a hive grows large enough, some warriors undergo a dramatic transformation into Praetorians, the royal guard of the xenomorph species. This change is triggered by the ingestion of royal jelly, a substance secreted and distributed by workers. Over time, the warrior's body enlarges, doubling in size and mass, until it becomes an imposing defender standing nearly twice the height of a drone. Its exoskeleton thickens into armor capable of shrugging off heavy gunfire, while its claws, inner jaws, and tail strike with devastating force. Praetorians exist for one purpose: to protect the queen. Their loyalty is absolute, and they guard the hive's core chambers with relentless vigilance. In battle, Praetorians have been recorded unleashing a deafening scream, which echoes throughout the hive and summons swarms of drones to overwhelm intruders. Their acidic blood is even more concentrated than that of ordinary xenomorphs, making them catastrophic to injure in enclosed spaces. For runner-born xenomorphs, the equivalent transformation produces the Crusher. Unlike the upright Praetorian, the Crusher develops a colossal triceratops-like head crest used as a battering ram, charging through armored vehicles and fortifications. Beyond their protective role, Praetorians hold a hidden potential. If the queen dies, one may molt into her successor, ensuring the hive's survival. The queen is the towering monarch of the xenomorph hive and the evolutionary pinnacle of its reproductive cycle. Standing nearly 20 feet tall and extending over 50 feet in length, she dwarfs every other caste in both size and authority. Her most iconic feature is the massive crown-like head crest, which serves as both armor and a symbol of dominance. Deep within the hive, the queen anchors herself to a biomechanical ovipositor, a grotesque living throne that fuses with her body. This immense structure allows her to produce an endless supply of ovomorphs, ensuring the hive's expansion without the need for a mate. Although seemingly immobile while egg-laying, the queen is far from defenseless. She can violently tear herself free from the ovipositor if threatened, becoming a swift and terrifying predator. Her elongated limbs and tail allow her to impale and crush, while her intelligence surpasses that of any drone or warrior, making her a cunning tactician as well as a brute force. We've seen her infiltrate ships and strike with surprising stealth, proving that her size doesn't limit her adaptability. The queen is the heart of the hive's survival, orchestrating expansion and commanding loyalty through sheer biological dominance. Yet above her, even greater forms exist. Above the queen stands the Empress, a rare but formidable stage of xenomorph evolution. At first glance, she resembles a queen, but her size and authority elevate her far beyond. Empresses are colossal, sometimes reaching the scale of a Tyrannosaurus rex, with a double-layered head crest that emphasizes both defense and status. Unlike the queen, whose loyalty to the hive is absolute, the Empress is more self-preserving. If forced to choose between herself and her offspring, she prioritizes survival, ensuring her continued rule even if the hive suffers. Another key difference is social structure. While most queens rule alone, an empress can tolerate multiple queens within her territory, creating a polygynous hierarchy. Each queen oversees her own hive, but all remain subordinate to the empress, effectively forming an empire of interconnected nests under her command. This makes her influence exponential, allowing her species to spread across vast regions. A fearsome variant, the War Empress, emerges during prolonged conflict. Her exoskeleton hardens up to 70% stronger, her crest develops distinctive battle markings, and her tail evolves into a barbed stinger. Most dangerously, she can drive her offspring into berserker frenzies, amplifying their aggression to suicidal levels and turning entire battles in her favor. The Queen Mother represents the supreme matriarch of the xenomorph species, towering above even the Empress in size, power, and influence. Unlike ordinary monarchs, she possesses a psychic dimension to her abilities. Through telepathic projection, she can invade human thoughts, manipulate emotions, and even appear in dreams to lure or control victims. Her presence exerts absolute biological dominance, suppressing Praetorians and rival queens from evolving, thereby ensuring she remains the undisputed ruler of her territory. Unlike the queen or empress, the Queen Mother is not always the result of gradual evolution. She can also be born directly through rare mother bursters, grotesquely advanced chest bursters that hatch with spines, claws, and a pronounced head crest, emerging already as miniature monarchs. Once matured, a Queen Mother commands planetary-scale hives, with her ovipositor capable of producing millions of eggs in only a few years. To protect her, the hive produces palatines, gigantic queen-sized guards bred solely for her defense. Palatines often lie dormant inside pod-like chambers surrounding her nest, awakening only when she is threatened. With tusked heads and brutal strength, a single palatine can rip apart machinery like Ripley's power loader. In the xenomorph hierarchy, the Queen Mother is the ultimate authority, leader of leaders, and orchestrator of planetary domination. The king is the rarest and most enigmatic stage of xenomorph evolution, appearing only in the largest and most mature hives. Vastly larger than even the Queen Mother, his sheer presence shakes the ground with every step, sending tremors through the hive. His body is built like a living fortress. Layered armor protects him from conventional weapons, and even heavy gunfire often proves useless. Unlike other castes, the king possesses an extraordinary ability to regenerate, healing from injuries at an accelerated rate, especially after consuming prey. This regenerative trait makes him nearly impossible to kill through ordinary means. The king's offensive arsenal is as terrifying as his defense. At close range, he wields crushing claws, a bladed tail, and overwhelming size. At range, he can expel massive spheres of concentrated acid, capable of melting through vehicles and fortifications in seconds. Most disturbingly, the king is not a solitary monster. He exerts a commanding influence over surrounding xenomorphs, often moving with packs of drones that flank and synchronize with his attacks. His role within the hive hierarchy is still debated in expanded lore. Some see him as a counterpart to the Queen Mother, others as a mythic anomaly. Regardless, his existence represents the pinnacle of the species' destructive potential.